Welcome back to Smoke Your Ribs. I'm Russ Jones. Today I've got my Lone Star Grills 24 by 36 all set, fired up, getting ready to do a brisket. And from that brisket, we're going to be doing a smoked brisket enchilada recipe. So stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this.
If you wanna cook backyard barbecue till you get your feel, you come to the right place. Russ Jones Smoked Ribs. Smoked Ribs. Smoked Ribs.
This is a brisket flat. This is all I'm needing for these brisket enchiladas. And I used this Swine Life Mississippi grind and I applied it on both sides. Did not use a binder of any kind. And also I'm using the meter. I did a review on this meter a few weeks ago. And I believe this is going to be my second cook using it. It's measuring internal temperature as well as grate temperature. I got it going at an angle so I could get it kind of dead center, the deepest part of this flat. Running my pit at around 275 is where it was at when I opened it up. We're going a little bit hotter and faster with this today. So I'm going to go ahead and close her up. I'm still running and holding about 275. That's where I wanted to run today. So I'm going to open this pit up. We are 158 degrees internal. We should be having a nice color on this. And yes, we do. Look at that. All right, that's the only one and last time I'm going to look at it until we're ready to pull this. Looking good. So my brisket has rested roughly 1 hour, and I've just strictly been chopping this up just for this recipe. It's just a brisket flat. It's not a whole packer brisket, and I'm sure we'll have leftovers. But that's all I'm looking for, is that right there, just chopped brisket. And that's just vegetable oil, that's all that is. And into that I'm adding 1/4 cup of flour. And if I didn't say it, that was 1/4 cup of oil. We're basically making a roux. Now you want this to cook for a few minutes. You don't really want to change colors, start taking on like a dark roux or anything like that, like you would do for gumbo or etouffee or anything like that. We're just simply wanting to cook off that flour taste. So we're going to let this heat up and go about 2 minutes, and then I'll go from there. All right, we've been going a couple of minutes. Now at this point, you want to add in some chili powder. And what I have here is chipotle chili powder. I have 2 tablespoons going in. And also I have 1 tablespoon of just straight up store-bought chili powder. Not really sure what that's made from, but it's just your average everyday chili powder. By heating this chili powder up in the oil along with the flour, it really releases the flavor of the chilies. All right, now what I want to do at this point is I have 1 cup of beef broth. Go ahead and stir that in. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken, and that is way too thick. So guess what happens now? We're going to add in just plain water. Now this time, I'm just going to add it in a little bit as I go. And with some more water. You don't want it super thick, not like I have here, but you do want it thickened somewhat, just a coat like the back of a spoon, maybe. All right, now while I'm letting this continue to thicken, I'm gonna go ahead and add some other ingredients. I have, let's see, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, going in with a little cracked black pepper. Now the broth has some salt in it. I am going to add some salt because I already know it's going to need it from prior experience, but it's not going to be a lot. Just put roughly, I don't know, maybe half a teaspoon. We're going to hold that right there. We can taste it later. We're going to add some more water into this. This is smelling insane, y'all. I have a few clumps in there. I might swap over to a whisk before it's all said and done and make sure I get all those little clumps out of there. Matter of fact, I'll do that right now. Now, one last thing I want to put in here is about a tablespoon of tomato paste. Some people do this with like a tomato base. Some people don't. Some people just leave it like I had it before adding this. I personally like the tomato addition into it. So once again, I'm going to take this whisk and we're just simply going to whisk this in. I'm going to add just a touch more water. You add water as you see necessary, and you know, like I said, you don't want it super thick and you don't want it super thin. You want it somewhere in between that, about what you're seeing right here. And as it cools, it's going to thicken on its own. That's looking silky smooth right there. All right, I'm going to turn the fire off. Yeah, see how it coats back of that spoon? That's what you want. I'm going to give this a taste for saltiness. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's really good. All right, I've got about a 1/4 cup of oil. This vegetable oil. Into that, I'm going to take some onion, chopped onion and garlic, and we're just going to saute these until somewhat soft. I'm getting a slight caramelization on my onions. As you can see here, they're nice and soft. What I want to do at this point is take some of this chopped brisket. I'm not using it all. We'll use the rest for sandwiches, but I am using probably a good 2/3, maybe 3/4 of it. I cut my fire off. I'm not really wanting to get this piping hot. Brisket was already warm. The onions are cooked. All I'm wanting to do is incorporate that into the meat. That way I can work with it much easier building these enchiladas. All right, I'm getting ready to put these enchiladas together. And before I do, I'm going to let you know that I already know that enchiladas are supposed to be made with corn and tortillas, but we just happen to like flour tortillas. I was actually going to do both flour and corn, you know, that way I could be somewhat authentic, but you know, I did a little thing here at the house between everybody, and everybody said flour tortillas, so flour tortillas it is. I used to make these and sell these at work also, and I mainly did them in flour tortillas because they're easier to separate individually after they're cooked in a pan, wrapped up, and then sold. And I just grown to like them like that. So flour tortillas it is, and we're going to get started right here. I'm going to take some of this brisket and onion mixture, onion and garlic. That might be a little heavy. We're going to take some cheese. This is a combination of Colby and pepper jack. Now the thing you want to do is just roll it and go seam side down, shove it right here. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to cut these cameras off, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish filling this up, and I'll bring you back here when I get ready to go to the next step. More of the brisket, onion, and garlic mixture. By the way, I tasted that brisket, and it is outstanding. Tell you what, that Mississippi grind is some really good rub. All right, there's our cheese. There again, that's Colby and pepper jack. Just roll it up, same side down. All right, I got them all rolled up as you can see here. And what I have here is the enchilada sauce, and we're going to pour this all over the top of all of them. And we're going to work that to where every one of them's got a good coating on them. And this is what's really going to elevate this and give it that Tex-Mex flavor mixed along with that smoky brisket flavor. These have got to be good. That is a really good enchilada sauce. All right, now I have a little bit of leftover brisket as well. I'm just gonna put that in a Ziploc and we can make more of these tomorrow or whatever, but for right now, we're gonna go ahead and top the rest of this. Cheese on here. Actually, I probably won't use all that. There's quite a bit left, but I'm gonna put a good topping on it. I think you need a little bit right in here. Maybe a touch more right in here. In here. Okay. All right, I've got it completely wrapped. Now, I'm gonna go out there and check on the smoker. It still might be going. If it is, I'm gonna add a log or two just to fire that temp up real quick. I'm either gonna heat these up out there or I'll bring them back in here and fire the oven up, but regardless, it needs to be over 300 degrees, more like 350 for 20 minutes. Then we'll take the cover off and go an additional 10 minutes. I'll be back. Had them in the oven. I didn't use a smoker. Went out there and the fire was just about out. It would have took me probably 30 minutes or better to get it up and going. So used the oven, and here is the reveal. Remove this foil, and there they are. Now these are not completed. They have to go back in uncovered for another additional 10 minutes. After that, we're gonna cut into these and we're gonna give them a try. Just come out of the oven, man. You talk about some good cheesy gooey goodness. Take a look at this. All right, I'm going to just, I guess right here on the end, just take a little bite out of one. This will be mine when I decide to plate up. Now I know this is going to be hot, but here we go. Let's see if I can get that focused in on that. Look at all that brisket. Here we go. Tell you what, if you like enchiladas, try it with smoked brisket. It really does elevate it. Normally I make like beef enchiladas out of hamburger meat, cheese, onion, things like that. Just like I did here, just swap it out for the brisket. You're going to enjoy it, I guarantee you. That enchilada sauce is really good. Got a little bit of kick from the chipotle chili powder that I use, but not overpowering by any means. Just a little touch of it right there. This would be also good with some green onions sprinkled on top, or raw onions, just however you like it. Like I said earlier, I did not use corn tortillas. I like corn tortillas on enchiladas, but I like flour tortillas better, so don't beat me up too bad over that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, smoke your ribs.